Okay, so I'm basically starting from scratch. Who is she?
Who are you?
I don't know.
I have wanted to dye my hair orange. Well, I actually did. I did like the balayage, whatever the heck it's called, a couple of years back. And then I went again to get it touched up and they didn't have orange. They only had like this reddish, like copper color. And she was very nice, but she was like convincing me that it would look the same. It didn't. It is October. It always comes so quickly, and we want to savor the moment. That's why I am not a big fan of Halloween countdowns, because I'm like, I don't want to see the days ticking away. Like, I want to enjoy this moment. I am not counting down to Halloween. Maybe I'm counting down to like September, because like I really love September and October. Those 2 months are great. Anyway, regardless, we are here. The leaves are changing. There's this tree right outside of my place, and it is fall. The leaves, every gust of wind, the leaves just fall. It's just it just warms my spooky, creepy little heart. So I wanted to do another craft before I did my last shopping video. I wanted to do another craft. And I was trying to think of like what would be fun craft-wise, because a lot of us are done decorating. You know, a lot of us put up our decorations in September. Some of you do early October, but most of us do August and September. And so we're probably done decorating. And so I was trying to think of a fun craft that would be more of an activity rather than for decorating. And so I got thinking about what is something that a lot of people love to do during Halloween season, and that is take photos. Take photos. It's such a fun holiday to, you know, we dress up in costumes, we put on makeup, we have some fun lighting and stuff, and we love taking photos. And so I was like, what if I did a fun photo shadow work craft? I have always loved Halloween shadow photography. I don't know if there's like an official name for it. If there is, I'll put it somewhere. I have always loved like shadow work in photography. It's so freaking cool. And every year I'm like, oh man, I really want to do that one year. I really want to do something fun with shadows and do like a fun little photo shoot. And so we're doing it. We're doing it right now, today. And yeah, you can do it too. So this is gonna be super easy. Like literally all it is cutting out paper. I saw this woman's craft online, and she essentially took like cutouts of paper and put them on a flashlight and shone them against the wall, like little, like a witch and like a hand, whatever. And it casted the shadow on the wall. And I was like, oh my God, that is so cute. I love that. That's genius. So I was looking into that. And then as I was looking into that craft, I also came across just casting shadows with a candle. And they actually have them at Target right now. They have these, like, it's like a wooden platform, and then it has like a witch on a stick, and that's supposed to cast this silhouette of a witch on your wall. So we're gonna do both of those. We're gonna do a freaking flashlight cutout, and we're gonna do a freaking candle setup situation. Once again, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, that will become clear Don't worry. But this should be pretty easy. Like, this should be super simple, straightforward. We're cutting out paper. Well, the one part. I'm thinking for the candle part, we're gonna do balsa wood. And that's gonna be really, really, like, balsa wood is super thin. It's super soft. I worked with it in college. I think for the candle part, I'm going to get a couple pieces of balsa wood and carve out these silhouettes out of the balsa wood and then glue them. That should be pretty simple. Like cutting a shadow into wood, cutting out paper. Watch these be my last words that I'm gonna be like, oh my God, no, it was not easy. It's gonna be.
So when deciding the shapes for my silhouettes, I wanted to do 3 different variations. The first one I decided on was just a classic, like, hand claw thing. It's just a great, simple silhouette. I wanted to go with, like, a witchy, like, very gnarly looking hand. And I think this looks pretty good. For my second silhouette, I wanted to do a classic, recognizable villain of Halloween, and I was tossing between a witch, Frankenstein, or the Headless Horseman. And the Headless Horseman is going to win every single time. So that is what I went with. I wanted him to be in a rearing back position, of course, the classic pose with that cape blowing in the wind, and he is holding that gourd. Yes, I had to tweak the horse about 1 billion times. I never draw horses, and what do they even look like? I don't even know. So, but I feel like this was a pretty decent result, thanks to my references, of course. And the third and final silhouette, I knew I wanted to do something with words. And so, classically, I thought of Boo. So I thought, let's do a Boo with some cute ghosties. And the text part took me an embarrassingly long time, but we're not going to get into that. But I've got several O's here in various sizes, and I thought that the ghosty looked pretty darn cute, and I loved that the O's kind of lined up with where the mouth is. And I think that this will make a great shadow.
It is the following day, and we are finished with our sketches. So now it's time to look at our little wooden pieces here and figure out the size that we need to print them at. So these guys are 6.5 circumference. I took geometry and I remember none of it. So 6.5 is the size that we're looking at for these. And then when it comes to the flashlight, if I make any measuring mistakes with that, it'll be way easier to adjust since I'm doing it with paper.
5 minutes later.
Alrighty then, we have our wood and our paper. They are looking great. I went ahead and edited the horseman so that he doesn't have his feet hanging down. I was just realizing that was way too ambitious of me. That's way too much detail. I could have maybe have done it just fine, but removing details when you're making something small is always the way to go. It's gonna look better in the long run. And I know when I do when I do the flashlight one, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to remove even more details. Let's do the easiest one. Let's do the hand. Let's do the hand first. And so we're just gonna cut out this hand like as is, and then we're gonna trace it.
And it was in this moment that Sarah realized this was not like college. And if she was going to cut through that wood with that little itty bitty X-Acto knife, it was going to take her 5 years.
Failure.
Okay, so a lot has changed since the last clip that you saw. I'm basically starting from scratch. I'm sure some of you was like, there's no way that's gonna work. Listen, I am a believer. I am like, when in doubt, pinky out. I was wrong. This did not work. There was no way, even though this is so thin, this wood is like, it's so thin, but there was no way in heck that I was gonna cut through because my arm was like so tired already and I hadn't even gotten to the details. I had just done the wrist part. Instead, what I'm going to do for this part, I'm gonna just get some black paper that I have and Mod Podge it. It'll be nice and firm, and then it is gonna stand up straight and we'll be good to go. And you know what? If it frickin' doesn't, then I'll get like popsicle sticks and I'll glue them on there. It's gonna stand up. It's gonna stand up straight. The next part is even more annoying. The flashlight part. So when I had discovered that there was no way I was going to cut through that wood, I was like, oh, perfect. When I go to the store to get this, I'll also grab a flashlight because surprisingly enough, we don't own a flashlight, which that needed to change. But I grabbed one. It had like a nice big, like it was like it had a face like this big. Perfect. So we bring this flashlight home and we test it against my blank wall. And when I tell you that the color was hideous, like it was the LED, which I didn't really think anything of it, but the LED was like creating this hideous color. It was refracting like red and green and like just all these hideous colors.
Ugh, it's hideous.
And then in the center of the light, as you shined it, it had like this sun. It was like this circular spot in the center. And it was so effing bright. And so immediately I was like, well, that's not gonna work. So I go back, annoyingly, and I get another flashlight, bring it back. Different problem. Basically, this time, this was able to spread and be soft, and it didn't have the color problem, but because it was also LED, when you switched it to that nice soft light, it was not one light, it was a million different lights around the outer ring of the flashlight. And so when you get a million different lights, what are you gonna get? Not a clear shadow. There's gonna be too many light sources coming from different places, and it's gonna destroy this image. And so when I put the hand up against this flashlight, and I had it on that nice spread mode, it looked like nothing. It was like a bunch of like crumpled shadows. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Lowe's. Like, this is ridiculous. And so I go to Lowe's and I was in there for like an hour, like testing these different flashlights. And I found one that I thought looked fine.
Okay, I'm gonna be vulnerable and real with you guys. So I went to Lowe's and I made the same mistake. I bought a light that I thought only had one, but it had multiple lights. And then another one did actually have multiple lights. But when I put my hand in front of it, it looked great. So I was like, oh, I guess this somehow works. I don't know. I was tired. Yes, I was kind of dumb. Just feel bad for me, okay? Anyway, so what we ended up doing and deciding is, it's very frustrating, but it's almost like liberating because we figured out what the best solution is going to be. You see this? See that right there? Yeah, that is going to be our flashlight. This will make this craft that much more accessible to you guys because I wanted to be able to share this with people if they wanted to do it. And so most people have a phone and most people's phones have flashlights. We tested it with the iPhone, and let me tell you, it's not the brightest light, but it was the best result out of all of the flashlights. We're gonna have to figure out how to hold the shape because we're not going to be creating, which that's a whole other thing. The craft that I saw online where they cut out the shape and taped it to the head of the flashlight, my husband was like, well, that doesn't even make much sense anyway. You're gonna have to be really close to the wall anyway, just based on how light works. The farther away you are, basically when you hold a shape to the flashlight and you're way far back, it's gonna get blurrier. You have to hold the thing away from the light and then you're gonna get a nice crisp image. So her craft was basically for like, you're basically up against the wall. Sarah did not compute. She did not realize. You know, we had to go through some learning hoops, and those hoops are never fun to go through. But we have made it to the other side, and now we know what we're doing. First things first, we're gonna move on to cutting out these on hodgepodged paper. Mod Podge. Oh my God. I thought I was gonna lose it when I was like on my third visit to Lowe's. I'm gonna get the paper out and I think I'm gonna Mod Podge it first and then trace out because it'll be nice and stiff. Once again, we're gonna try it. And if it doesn't work, we'll know for later. This is a learning channel, okay? I'm gonna slap on a few layers of that Mod Podge, and once it's completely dry and feeling nice and thick, I'm going to cut out my silhouettes. I decided to do this because, I don't know, I felt like it added a finish to it that regular paper just didn't give off to me, and then it also made it nice and thick. And I've tried cutting out with an X-Acto knife on my craft paper and it tears like immediately. So this prevents that. And the silhouettes used for the shadows on the wall, I'm just going to use regular printer paper because that works just fine for that purpose. The finishing touch for this candle craft is to grab 3 wooden squares and popsicle sticks. Paint them black or whatever color you want, honestly. And you're going to glue the popsicle stick to the side of that square and then add a little glue to the top of the popsicle stick and glue on your silhouette. And then the candle will rest on the wooden square and it'll be like a nice little platform for it to create this shadow.
Since
How dare you?
I'm like eyeballing the conference and all that.
Oh my God, that's so fun. And it's all made out of paper and tape, so you guys can do this too.
Did I make the tube too small?
No, you... maybe. Yes!
Yes. Now let's see if we can just get this angle right. Might be experiment. I'm gonna watch the wall. Yeah, you don't want it. Okay, so 11 bad. Oh, the Kelvin.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does it look like when it's in?
Oh, hun. As frustrating as this whole craft was, I love how it turned out. It was something that was so surprising to me. I was anticipating kind of the worst, just with how bad of a start it had. But the photos and the way I was able to keep it accessible to you guys made it all worth it. And that was why I was like, no, I'm gonna do paper, because could I've gone and bought a wood cutting thing? Sure. I kind of wanted to do that, but I was like, no, if someone wanted to make this, they're not gonna go buy woodworking tools. So I'm just so glad that it's done and that I actually did enjoy doing it. And I hope that you try it. I was asking my husband, I was like, why was this so difficult? Like, why did I do XYZ? Because there were so many decisions I made with this craft where I look back and I'm like, why didn't I just do paper from the get-go? Like, why did I choose wood? And he was like, I don't think that you've been giving yourself enough time to think. You're just like, that's a good idea, and you just do it. Plus, I have been sick. So that definitely has not helped. If this cold thinks that it's gonna stop me from crafting, no. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it made you inspired. And if you are interested in trying out this craft using my files, I am launching a Patreon. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to make a Patreon for so long, and I just didn't get around to it. I was just kind of figuring things out. And once again, like all artists say, there is no obligation. I know that times are tough right now, and I am pinching pennies myself. I think for now I'm just gonna do the $5 tier. And so I would love to have you, but totally understandable, no pressure at all. There's gonna be downloadable files from my video, so I'm gonna put the moon on there as well that I used in my Halloween decorating video. I'm also gonna post like probably some chit chats, like some one-off videos that don't work for YouTube. I'm also going to post comics on there. I used to draw, if you go to my Instagram, I used to draw these really cute skeleton comics, and then like my Instagram got hacked and it was this whole thing. So I was like, you know what? It's way easier if I just post photos to my Instagram. So I thought, what better place than to post them to the Patreon. So there will be comics on there. There's gonna be lots of different fun things. That was what I wanted to announce with this video because of the downloadable files. So you can go and download these 3 files if you wish. If you have any suggestions, especially with this one, because holy croak, did I flub up in like every avenue. If you have any tips, tricks, suggestions, don't be mean, even though I kind of deserve it in this one. But if you have any, once again, any kind of tips or tricks, leave those in the comments. I love reading them. If you enjoyed this video and it inspired you, feel free to give that a like. It really helps me out. And subscribe. What? Subscribe if you want to join the Cute and Creepy family. So much more is yet to come. Yes, Halloween is nigh, but fall has just arrived. So we're continuing these festivities. And I am pumped. As awful as I feel, you wouldn't know, because autumn is running through these veins. Thank you so much, my cute and creepy friends. Thank you for your patience, and stay spooky, and I will see you in my next video.